Welcome to What the Biz, where we talk about building successful businesses, balancing life, and all the WTB in between. With your hosts,
I'm Bridget Vector.
And I'm Dan Prochko. I like a little head bop. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining in today. So if you're listening to this right now and your business, okay, is making more than it was a year ago, and you're still saying to yourself, why doesn't it feel easier? Why do decisions feel heavy? Why does cash still feel tight? Well, we're going to tackle that today. Okay, we're going to explore that today and hopefully make you feel a little bit better about where you're at. Not a little bit better, a lot better about where you're at, because it's totally normal. We're going to cover it. But before we do, I'd like to introduce my co-host, as always, Bridget Vector. How are you?
I'm great. You know, most accountants don't say that in January, right? Like January is it is our busy month. But we are on a good track this year. Like 1099s should be done next week. We are aiming to have our last client wrapped up, like the whole year review, by next week. Like we are slated for this to where our clients can just walk to their tax appointment with like beautiful done financial records.
What does that mean? You take the next 3 months off?
No, not at all. No, that's when we get to dive into the cleanups, which are actually my favorite. But helping other business owners get that same level of confidence.
Right.
But I don't know. It's a good month. Like this is the first year ever that I'm actually slated to do a coaching call in January.
Wow.
Like
nice.
We're exploring knowing your personal number next week, and we normally don't do things like that in January because it's our busy month. So I'm really excited about this year and the impact that we hope to make. So
sweet. Real cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
How are you? What's new?
For us, we are launching our first paid workshop course, as it were. And so I know we were talking about it before coming on. And so we are neck deep in building interest in that and doing the whole content engine. Content is difficult. It's time consuming. It's a lot of fun, but also nerve wracking and like, I don't know. It's it's constant is the piece that I want to say. So if anybody's big into social, big into content, it's constantly always there. And so we just launched at the beginning of the week, the new content and everything, putting it out there. And it has been a change in trying to get our habits in place so that we're constantly putting new stuff out that seems fresh and insightful and valuable and worth engaging with. Because I know everybody listening is like, Dan, you run a marketing agency. What do you mean you can't do content? We're not that kind of a marketing agency, okay? We don't do content. It's one of the things in marketing we don't do. I mean, yeah, we do email and we write emails. It's a little bit different than like constantly putting out social content and stuff for like mass viral engagement with an algorithm and playing with that. So we've got a little bit of a learning curve. We know how to do it. It's just like learning curve of getting back into the habit of making it happen.
Yeah.
And so we are doing all that to promote this new workshop around pricing for cleaning companies and how to set your prices. So, definitely targeting that newer, smaller marketing or cleaning firm that hasn't, really formalized all their pricing structures and everything. And yeah, real insightful. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm excited for the workshop. I'll tell you that. I'm very excited to put on this workshop. A lot of research went into it, talking with all our current clients and out there with others. So I'm excited for it, but that's where we're spending a lot of our time right now. So,
and I think as entrepreneurs, it's very hard in the waiting game, right? Like the impact that this workshop will have. Yeah. And you're like, I just want the audience because then they can like get their pricing right for the whole year and they can make more money. And then we can talk about other marketing and other systems and all the things. And so speaking of making more money, it's not always
it's a big waiting. It's a big make it all and wait. That's exactly it. I'm in a waiting phase. It's like, I'm so ready to go, but I'm in this waiting phase of getting people into it and everything. So yeah, we'll get there. It'll be good. Yeah. But on to this week's topic, we were talking about, so you made more money. Things don't feel great. Why is it that money why does money just sit in the back of your mind, even on good days? If that's like what you're feeling right now, well, you think logically, look, revenue's up. It should feel calmer. It gives me more room, more options, more freedom, or so you think. But a lot of business owners, the opposite happens.
And I think if you are a listener and you are hearing this and going like, oh, this is me, I want to say like just a few things, because I think anytime we talk about money, people instantly think like, I'm failing at money. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm bad. I'm irresponsible. And you're none of those things. Like every single business owner, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about kind of this like this tipping point that businesses hit inside their business. But like, you're not failing. You're not doing things irresponsible. You're not bad with money. And what you're experiencing. So if you are saying like, I'm making more money, but it doesn't feel easier, it makes sense. And there is a reason and an explanation for it. And today we're going to talk about why that happens, why it can make your business feel harder, and what can actually change that so that you don't feel that way. And it is actually a good feeling, not this stressful feeling. So there's like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like when I started my journey, right? Or we think about entrepreneurship, there's like this really quiet little promise that's baked into this, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And it's just, if I can make more money, everything else is going to settle down. It's going to get
I've
easier.
said it. I'm guilty. I've said it. I've thought
Same.
it totally.
Yes.
And I know it. And I know it's not true. It's just like, if I can hit this number, things are going to get so much easier. And it's like, wait, but I got to think about that for a second, because that's not always true.
Yes. No. And we all say it. Like,
Yeah.
And for a while, it can kind of feel that way, right? But I would say early growth and then like growth in the middle of your business does not always like solve all of the problems. You may like, it may solve the problems that you're not having to choose between groceries and, something you need in your business. And you probably finally can pay some contractors and hope that you're going to get things off your plate. And you probably do stop holding your breath every time a bill hits. But then there's this weird thing, like you get this more money and instead of relief, you start to feel more pressure, more responsibility, more fear of making the wrong move with that more money. And business owners will actually start living to that more money, right? So I hear this all the time in my company with clients we talk to, and they say like, Bridget, we are doing better than ever. Like this last year was amazing. Why do I feel more anxious and more worried?
Yeah, no, we see it too. We've had quite a few conversations, it's the beginning of the year. So we're all reflecting on last year. Some clients are like, oh my God, last year was so crazy. Why was it so crazy? And it's like, well, look, with marketing, we help businesses create demand. That creates more leads. It creates more booked calls, more opportunities, more deals, more work is really what it is. So everybody thinks that like high demand and high growth equals freedom. And so whenever we're talking with clients on the marketing side, it's just like, wait, you want to grow by 80%, 100%? Do you know what that means? Like, hold on. Like, are you ready for the craziness that comes with that? Because with demand, it doesn't just bring money. I mean, it brings delivery expectations. You've got payroll, you've got refunds, timing issues, you got scheduling complexity. You've got, supplies and purchasing. Like there's so much more that comes with growth than just, oh, cool, we're going to make more money. So, marketing definitely, and growth opens the door. But with that growth, the business, you still have to hold on to what walks in.
And I think we've talked about, like in previous episodes, the capacity talk, right? And this is part of that as well. And revenue does increase your exposure overall to all of these things. And it doesn't necessarily just create safety for yourself. And I kind of want to talk about this like ease test, right? So this is a really quick check right now for our listeners to make this a little more real or like where they can apply it, right? So let's apply this to your life. And so answer these yes or no. Like, could you miss 1 week of work without panic? Could a client pay late without it ruining your month or maybe like disrupting your life? Could you take money out of your business without guilt or take money out with confidence? And can you explain where your money is going in under 60 seconds? So if you said no,
that
you got
last
an
one.
ooh.
That last one. No. I know where it's all going. It's just that last one. 60 seconds. That's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. So if you said no to 2 or more of these things, I will tell you your issue is not revenue. It's about the clarity that you have around revenue and your business. So I think in our world, we see this huge misunderstanding around revenue. They think that it's automatically money that can be used or like it's just theirs, right? In a business, which is kind of that question, the last one, like, can you explain where it's going in less than 60 seconds? Revenue is loud, right? Like when you are getting money into your business, it is hitting that bank account. You might have Stripe notifications that are dinging at you when it's coming in. You probably have some sales dashboards, you have launch numbers, but cash itself kind of lives in this more quiet world, right? You have cash going to payroll. You have cash that has to be saved and allocated to taxes. You have cash that has to go to refunds and software and debt. And revenue is great at telling you what came in. Cash is going to tell you what's left overall. And I think this is where the breakdown comes for businesses that are like, I have made so much more money. Why is this not working to make me feel better? And it's likely because the expenses went right along with it and you didn't create this like profit like buffer. You didn't get more profit out of the more revenue. You just got more headache.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what fast growth, that's the weird thing about fast growth is that, it highlights, top level wins. You get these sales, you get these leads coming in, and then you get these sales and you see these awesome numbers of like, oh man, our run rate is going to be great. We've got all these new customers, and so when you're focusing on that growth and that new revenue only, you're not focusing on the cost to deliver that and or when that money is going to actually hit your account. You may, close clients now that require purchasing for projects or for certain pieces that you're not going to realize the revenue or the profit from that, let's just say for months from now. I know we do a lot of projects where it's half up front, half at the end. And in the middle, there's a whole lot of stuff that takes place that we're just doing and working on. But, at some point, did we overshoot on the time needed? Did we underestimate how much other things cost? And then now we're in a pickle, we're in a cash flow crunch, et cetera. So as business owners, we see that growth, but immediately we feel this instability around it.
And I think from your perspective in marketing, you probably see this a lot with your clients because you can work on their marketing systems to get them more customers, more revenue all day. Like I think of cleaning companies, right? And how they could feel this where they're like, wow, like Dan and his team are getting us all these leads. Like, look at all these new customers we have. And then the flip side of that is like, do we have the staff to support?
That's it. Or they lose staff and they're like, wait, we're still growing. You're still getting us leads. We just lost staff. How do we handle all of this? And then we're jungling all of this around and it becomes a quality issue and then customer, retention issue and everything. Yeah, totally.
So that's where the more revenue like your nervous system is going to notice that mismatch before your brain. Like you're going to say, wow, I'm making more money, but yet I am way more stressed. And you might not be able to explain why. And I will say, like, you don't need 30 reports. You don't need like a Bible of numbers thrown at you, right? You just need a few things that you can look at and trust. And I'm going to try my best to explain these because obviously we are an audio podcast and we're talking numbers, but I think one of the easy ones is operating margin. And this is before you pay yourself, right? So this is everything that is left after your business pays expenses. So let's just use an example that you are doing about $500,000 in revenue, but you have so many expenses that you are keeping, I would say 10, 20, 50, something low out of that, right? That's not success for your business. That is a ton of pressure. So I could see why somebody that's like, my business is a $500,000 business.
Yeah.
Where's all my money? Like, you need a healthy target.
Well, I mean, we've even seen in $1 million businesses where the owner is still only making, say, 80 grand, 70 grand a year. And for some, that may sound amazing if they were making that much. But when you're $1 million business and you've got, say, 20% profit margin after everything, I mean, that owner should probably be bringing in 200,000, 250,000, on $1 million business. And to see them at that point is just like that they're feeling pressure because it's like, where's everything going? Why am I not seeing what I should be seeing?
Yeah. So if you're asking, like, how would I know what this is? I don't want to dive into financial reports, but pull, if you call it a P&L or if you call it your income statement, you're literally going to look revenue total. You're going to look at net income total. And if that net income is not at least 10%, you already can say something is not working and you're going to have revenue stress. Guaranteed. Let's talk about a cash cushion, right? So how many months could your business survive with 0 new sales? Like that, this is a very real number. And I think it's something that's really important. So if you have less than 1 month, you will have constant stress, even with high revenue. Goal, look for the 2 to 3 months. Like, you don't have to go anything crazy, but just make sure you can cover those operating expenses with cash. Not future money you're hoping to collect, but cash. Yes.
And when we say new sales, we mean, like really any revenue. Say all revenue stop today. How long could your business continue to operate, pay everybody, pay your expenses, et cetera, and keep operating?
Yeah. And then I have 2 more that I want to just kind of touch on. The first one is oh my gosh, I see so many business owners go through this and they think, oh, look, I made $500 off this new client. A business can only safely use like 60% of that collected revenue. The rest, it already belongs somewhere else. Think taxes. That's the number one overlook.
Yep.
People overlook it all the time. Payroll, overhead. So if you spend from your business, like every penny is yours to keep, you will always have this feeling in your body that you are on edge, you are stressed, and you are worried.
I call this bank account balance decision making. It's because it's in there, I can spend it.
Yes.
and you can't.
Absolutely. And I think what goes alongside of this is another piece that keeps business owners just kind of always feeling worried or that they can't cover their living, right? I run into a lot of people that don't know what their personal number is. And when I say personal number, I am talking about like, what do you need for your home life to survive? A lot of people are like, I don't know, like I pay a mortgage, I have a car payment, we buy groceries, and like they really don't know what their life costs them. Yeah. And so when a business can't support you pulling that money out to even support what you have to have for your life, you're always going to feel overwhelmed by this revenue and cash because it just isn't enough to support. So if you're running blind kind of on like, what do I even need? You're going to have this feeling. And I think when money feels unclear, there isn't just a confusion that comes with it, but there is a feeling of being ashamed, right? Like I run into this about certain things, not just money-wise, but like where I say, like, I should know this by now. Like, I'm a business owner. How do I not know whatever this thing is? And I know people around money say this a lot, or other people seem to be doing just fine, or other people have it figured out. And maybe I'm just bad at this, and maybe I shouldn't do this. And I mean, we beat ourselves up all the time as entrepreneurs, right? And I think making more money and having more revenue is just another way that we can beat ourselves up if we just don't have the clarity.
Yeah, I think what's key in all of that is, there are different ceilings that businesses hit along the way as they grow, and there's these plateaus that you reach, and that's where you feel the struggle. And what it can be is there's probably a system or a tool or something. Not usually, it can be a tool, but there's some system in place that you've outgrown that piece. And this can happen financially too. I know we did that when we started working with you at first. We were on a different accounting platform. We were on Wave Apps, a great platform. I think it was wonderful for where we were at. If you're a smaller business, you're not very complicated, it's awesome. We had a lot more complexity starting to go on. And not only was it causing headaches for us in the reporting and different like creative ways we had to do journal keeping to make sure, things worked, but your team had to do a lot more work because of that as well. And so it was like, okay, are we just going to keep putting in a ton more time and have all this headache every month? Or does it make sense to evolve and to put something in that actually fits what we need? And so as our businesses grow and we hit these ceilings or these plateaus, we also have to evolve our systems to make sure that everything keeps up, because otherwise we're going to keep feeling the stress. For instance, like that personal number, if I'm not keeping up on my accounting personally and I don't have the right system in place there, I don't have that number to bring over so I can make better decision making here. And then if I don't have the right software tools here so that I can see things properly, how can I plan properly as well? So it's really key that as your business grows, you're keeping up with that growth also with your systems and tools.
Yeah, great points. And it's typically a lot of systems that kind of break along the way.
Yeah.
Like the financial side, we see an initial break around like the 250. Like that's normally where somebody's either been bootstrapping their accounting or they didn't have it at all. And like when you hit that 250,000 per year in revenue and you can't see clearly what's happening, forget it. Then it's kind of like it almost matches the same time like you feel like your business gets harder, like the $500,000 and the mill. It's all those like breakthroughs. You can just assume something needs to be tweaked. And it's normally like stepping out of maybe being the one responsible.
Exactly. It's usually entirely what it is, and you're right. It's not only the financial software, because look, once you're in, say, QuickBooks with a professional, like your team doing the bookkeeping, that's going to grow with you. Okay. At that point. So it's other financial pieces that are going to break. So for instance, you've hired on more employees. So now you've got a lot of payroll to deal with, and maybe you did it manually, but now it's breaking because you can't do it manually anymore, or there's invoicing, or there's other pieces around finance, around the money, that it's the other pieces that end up breaking, but it all funnels into feeling financially secure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is where the breakdown in accounting world happens, right? I think business owners are lacking the area where somebody teaches them how to rebuild them or the diagnosing of what's broken. So like if you are listening right now to everything we just said and thinking, okay, yep, this is totally me. Like revenue has increased and I feel more stressed. Let's talk about like the reframe or what's next. So if making more money has not made things easier, again, it doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that your business has outgrown whatever system you're currently in. It could be the guessing. It could be maybe you are in something, but you're not getting enough clarity out of it. And so your next step isn't to like hustle more to think I have to fix the whole world. It's just getting that clarity to make those decisions. And you don't need everything. You need a few numbers. And then we're also going to just kind of talk about, in closing, maybe a next step around diagnosis and what that looks like. So let's start with like 4 easy decision numbers. Yeah, go.
Before we go down that route, I just really want to say like I that piece about the hustle, is so common. Is like, I'm especially for us entrepreneurs, many of us are alpha types. It's like we feel everything has to sit on our shoulders and we have to do it. Remember, if you're going to hustle more, that means you're putting more time in. That means you're going to burn out. And in the end, that's going to hurt the business as well. So fixing it really is the solution toward breaking through that ceiling. It is not more hustle. There's only one of you. You can't do the work of 2 people. So as we head into these decision ready numbers, just know, yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's crazy. It's a little confusing, but it's okay. You're going to feel better. And honestly, it's going to be healthier for you too. So yeah.
Yeah. Great point. So 4 numbers that can kind of just help calm things down. And if you're listening to these and you go, I don't have answers to this. Hear what Dan just told you. It's okay. Like there are ways to get the answers. So we can calm down our type A and it's going to be okay. So know the monthly profit, like we mentioned, like before you pay yourself, like what is your company actually keeping in cash? And is it enough? That 10%, if you're under 10%, already know that you need to look at something inside the business. What can the business then safely pay you, and make sure you're not forgetting about taxes? Like I never want a business owner to get to tax season, see their tax bill and say, I didn't save that kind of money. Like our goal with anybody we work with is that they are making sure they are saving and able to pay that tax bill and not be surprised. Have have a documented list, or at least somewhere that you know your monthly fixed commitments. Like these are the ones that don't go away if you stop making money. Rent is a huge one, right? So just have those numbers handy. Like what is my fixed commitment amount for every single month? And then your true available cash that isn't spoken for. That's kind of the safety net we were talking about. Like how long can you last without more cash coming in?
Yeah, we do this. We've actually got a whole spreadsheet where we've got all of our expenses in one tab, and those are our fixed expenses. We know every year that our project management software renews on this date. We know our insurance renews on this date. We have these monthly costs for software. We've got our telephone bill is on average about X every month. Like we know these things, they're fixed, they're going to be the same every month, so we put them in there right away. We know what those are. And then we've also we've got our personal, run of expenses and other pieces. So we know what we need to get paid. We know what the expenses are with the business so that we can then forecast, okay, here's the revenue we're going to make. And using all of that, we can understand here's how much, we can get paid, should be paid, need to get paid. And then also how much is left over that we're constantly saving and or reinvesting in the business, et cetera, moving forward. So it really is as simple as just some basic spreadsheets can help you forecast it out. Like just some basic things. We don't need huge tools to help through all this, where the accounting software helps organize all of it so you can understand what these things look like and use it to help understand what your fixed commitments are. We use our profit and loss statements every month to understand here's our common expenses every month and what they are. And we understand what those things are. Those reports are valuable to help do this. We then put it into a spreadsheet just to have a template. It's not like we track every month also in a spreadsheet. No, it's just this one template of here's what it looks like. A normal month would look like X. And that just gives us this quick snapshot so we can make better decisions as we go forward.
I love that you said it doesn't have to be overly complicated. Like I am told all the time, like we're not numbers people. Like we don't like numbers. Yeah. Like we don't understand numbers, or we don't want to build a budget. I will tell you right now, I am not a budget fan. That word alone brings restriction feelings to it, and I don't think it bodes well with people. I do think you have to have an idea of what you need. There's a big difference, which is kind of, I mentioned the pay workshop, right? The personal number workshop that we're doing. That template I'm giving is exactly what you're saying. It is so simple. Like we don't need you to be complicated. I just need you to know the number. That's it. Like it doesn't have to be hard. And when you can detach yourself from saying like, I'm not a numbers person, and you can get some clarity here and then have a resource helping you along the way, your decisions slow down, your fear drops. You can start to actually intentionally grow your business and do it in a way that maybe you'll finally get the time back that you want. And I think most of all, money can stop feeling like a threat, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be scared of it.
Well, and because when we're scared, it's always just like, I can't spend on that. I can't spend on that. I can't invest in growth. I can't, I have this opportunity, but I don't know if I can do that. And we're constantly afraid. But the moment where, like you said, that fear disappears, we can slow down with decision making. We can intentionally, like you said, invest and say like, okay, we're going to do a 6-month, $5,000 test. We can do these things. Or we're going to invest 10 grand here. Or we're going to hire a new person to try this because we know what we have. And we're not afraid anymore because we can see it.
Yeah. And that is when revenue growth stops feeling hard, right? Like that's when you can enjoy the growth in revenue that you're having. So as we kind of close this out, I want to leave everybody with a few thoughts. So most business owners don't actually have an accounting problem. Like they may not have a system, right? But ultimately, this all comes down to a diagnosis problem. Most of the time, business owners are given reports, but they're not given the clarity behind those reports. They've been sold a service, maybe even taxes. It could have been bookkeeping, right? It could have been a setup of something, but they weren't given the understanding behind it. Or like it isn't diagnosed to find out what exactly is broken inside your business to be causing the things that you're feeling. And so we want to break that down and talk about that in our next episode because it's perfect time.
Yeah, look, tax season is here. I don't know. Did your heart just jump, or maybe your hands started sweating as I'm like rubbing mine off on my pants? Like, stop. This is really, it's the time of year when, look, a lot of business owners, we're gonna realize something uncomfortable. And what they realize is that they don't actually lean on their accountant for clarity. Most have an accountant for taxes, and they lean on them to get through tax season. And those two things are very different. Getting clarity and getting through tax season mean two very different things.
And I think this gap is exactly what we see that are keeping businesses and business owners guessing for the whole year. So like our listeners might have just said tax season's here. And I said last tax season, I wasn't doing this again. And here I am in the same feeling, doing the same thing. So in the next episode, we really want to like dive in and just talk about like why the typical accountant relationship keeps you in the dark as a business owner. Like, why does that happen? And what a real financial diagnosis actually looks like. We're going to cover the difference between someone who sells services and someone who advises decisions. Let that sentence just kind of like melt into your brain for a second. There is a difference between selling a service and advising decisions, and how to tell if your accountant is helping to move you forward and progress your business, or if they are just helping you keep the lights on in the moment.
Cool. I'm looking forward to next week. So yeah, I hope you found something awesome in that whole conversation. I think it's good. We let's move on. I think let's go to the What the Biz moment of the week. Okay. I'm going to start. We're just 2 weeks into the new year, and I'm going to go back to New Year's Eve. Actually, I am going to give kudos to my little municipality. Okay. I don't think municipalities get enough love, but that's beside the point. Every year for New Year's, Kalamazoo, Michigan puts on a New Year Fest. And I think it's a really cool, like goodwill gesture, bringing people together, community builder. And what it is it's an outdoor evening festival that works with local venues or public buildings to put on basically a huge entertainment event. There's like a really low ticket cost of like $10, $15. It used to be like $7-5, but that was like 20 years ago. We're now in 2026. It's like $10, $15. If you buy before $10, your ticket if you buy it early. But there's like 5 or 6 venues. It's public buildings like churches or community spaces, etc. They open up as event venues, and they'll host like musicians, bands, magicians. They'll even have comedy shows. They even put up a tent outside on the park near City Hall, and they'll have like a DJ in there. They'll have a stand-up comedy tent as well. So if you're able to brave the cold a little bit, you can go outside and do that. I think they put heaters in those tents. And so you can just bounce between venue all around, around a park downtown by City Hall. You just bounce back and forth between these venues from 6 o'clock in the evening all the way till midnight. And just taking in this awesome entertainment and community. And then the lights from Christmas are still up downtown, so everything is lit up. It's really cool. And the night ends with a ball drop and fireworks. And they have a whole countdown. And I mean, this year there were like 300-400 people downtown in Kalamazoo, and it was cold. It was a cold night. I think it was like 20 degrees or something. It was below freezing for sure. And we were all out there, and and then everybody stays out there. We watch the fireworks and everything. I don't know. I think it's a great event. Do I think they could do some things better, like their website? Sure, but that's a whole other thing. I think it's a well-organized event. They bring the community together. And the fact that it's been going on since the 80s, I think just shows, just how positive of an event it is and how well the organizers have been doing it, putting quality into this event and thinking about the community. And kudos to the city for funding this. Yes, there are sponsors, of course, but the city helps to make that happen, and thanks to the partners. I think it's an awesome thing. So, cities and other community groups thinking about how these goodwill programs are really valuable, and they really bring community together. It's really, really cool.
Well, and on top of that, I think cities more and more have to be thinking about the future of their cities and maintaining businesses and maintaining the community and supporting the businesses that are in those, and bringing a group to that area. You never know what they're going to visit or see and then go back to. It is a great way to keep your businesses kind of thriving as well. And I think that's really important, even more so now. It's just important. Yeah.
No, I forgot to even touch on that. Is many people make an evening of it. They come out for dinner before it all starts, or early on in the evening, and then they catch all the entertainment starting at 8 or 9 instead of all the way at 6. Every year I'm always running into people from out of town, and I don't mean just from a city over. I mean from Chicago. They've come to Kalamazoo for New Year's because they knew about New Year Fest and they just were going to do other things around town, and so they came and they're out there enjoying those. And I think that's really awesome, and so, it can attract people in and new dollars, but then get locals, supporting places because you're giving them a destination, somewhere to go. And so it's a great event for that. You make a really good point.
Yeah. So mine is actually a win based on, I think a few episodes ago, you were talking about reviews and kind of the power behind reviews and what to do with them, even if you get bad ones. And there is a local sandwich shop. They're actually across part of the state of Michigan. They have 4 distinct cities that they are in, with multiple locations in each of those cities. And the owner of the one specifically in Kalamazoo, I think maybe a brother owns one of the other ones, and they've been around for a long time. A grandpa started it, or I should have looked up the whole history, but either way, he does a great job of responding to negative reviews. He makes it fun, not in a bad way, but he addresses them head on, and if they were wrong, owns it. He will literally post them and then give the exact response. Here's what we're doing to make things better. Or if the customer happened to be wrong, he has no problem backing his employees up and kind of just having a forward discussion about it. And I think it is a really good way to tackle both positive and negative reviews head on. And he's done such a great job of his own spin at that I'm counting it as a win. I could see maybe some business owners maybe not doing the spin so great, so be cautious.
Yeah.
But he's done a great job, and to his credit, they have expanded. They have a ton of locations. They're actually coming to my town, which I am so excited for. I saw their sign go up the other day, and it's actually what made me think of this. But I will say he probably knows his numbers, and that's how he's expanding. But kudos to him and the brand. Also, the brand that they have built, right? Their quality must speak for itself. How else can you be around for so many generations and continue to expand? Because it's subs, right? There's competition there.
Yeah, tons in the subspace. Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's a great branding story. I mean, to have a specific lens that you look at the world through, and that's how you approach everything, your value system and that culture that you build, so that even when there's a negative review, bam, we're going to either own it or no, we're going to call it out, and we're going to see it, play it like it is, we're going to call it the way it is, and everything. And yeah, if someone was part of that experience and shared that story, it's like, here's what we experienced. So yeah, great. If you want to give that a 2-star, fine, but whatever. But that can bring on a lot of conflict. You're calling people out or whatever. But if you have a culture that is that, how many brands are there out there where they are they're just outspoken, or incredulous. I don't know. That's the word I'm thinking, but that's not the word I mean to use here. Brazen, outspoken, blunt. It's a brand. It's a type. You can go for it, and I think it's a creative way to approach. And it may be very authentic for them, but it's also a creative way to come at it because they've decided, no, this is who we're going to be. We're just going to own it, and we're going to that's what we're going to be. We're going to embody this, and I think that's cool. Yeah,
because often it's kind of like swept under the rug or tried to ignore, and just he does it in a very tactful, professional way. Like he just has a way, and it works. Like I give him props for it, and
So that just made me think, you're right. So many people in businesses are afraid of bad reviews. I think we need to stop being afraid of bad reviews because let's think about, I'm going to put an example out there, and it's, say you have 2 businesses that you can work with. One has 3 reviews and they're 3 5-star reviews, but only 3. Another one has 1,000 reviews, but they're all 2 stars. Who are you going to work with? Okay. And I think this trips some people up, but when you think about it, you got to go, wait. There's a business that has thousands of customers because we know not every customer puts a review out there. So they have thousands of customers and it's a 2-star review. Weird, but they have thousands of customers. So people are still going to them and they're coming back to them, even though they have 2-star reviews. Here's another company with 3 reviews. Yeah, they're all 5-star, but only 3. And say they've both been in business about the same amount of time. There's something wrong here. Okay. That, in the sense of like, more reviews is good. It proves that you are doing something good. You are putting out quality product and service. They probably have some communication mismatch, which is why they've got a 2-star review. There's some expectation communication mismatch. But if they have that many reviews and people are still coming to them and they're still around, I think they're worth it. And honestly, that is how Google looks at it. And I think so many people misunderstand this, is that that's the only way to look at reviews. If you have that many more reviews than someone else, it means you're still doing something awesome because you have that many customers and they're still coming to you. Not that you're doing bad service and you're the only provider out there. That rarely is the case. That's almost never the case that you're the only provider of something in an area. So even search engines, and we've talked about this on the review episode 2, so go back, is like more reviews is good. It proves you're doing something. That whole 5-star score thing, it has to do with like a very minimal sliver of SEO searches that isn't really the end all be all. It doesn't break anything. So I just wanted to throw that out there again, remind everybody. It's really, really neat and really cool. Go back and listen to our review episode. But I think
it's a great point to tackle those head on. Like, because then you get to voice your side, or
there is that. Yeah.
Do it in a tactful way, like a good way. Yeah.
100%. Well, like I said, that's a wrap on another episode. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Bridget and I know your time is very valuable for spending it here with us. If you found value in today's conversation or picked up on any new strategy for your business, do us a huge favor. Leave us a review either on Apple or Spotify. It's really the 2 best places to help other people find out about our show, especially other business owners. So if you have a hurdle or you're facing a topic you want us to explore or share our expertise on, head over to whatthebiz.com, drop us a line. We love hearing your ideas. We might just make them an entire episode. We've done it before, so we'd love to hear from you. But until next time, keep building, stay proactive, and we'll see you on the next one.